Hi there, this is Dr. Evan Osar with the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education. Welcome to this edition of Integrative Movement Insider, and today is part 4 of a 6-part series on improving shoulder stability and specifically the rotator cuff. In parts 1 through 3, you can find them here on our Facebook page or on our website, iihfe.com. We discuss the importance of developing your process, so having a very specific process for how you assess your clients, use your corrective exercise strategy to improve posture and movement habits, and how you integrate these more optimal and efficient habits into your client's fundamental shoulder stability. And I demonstrated a corrective exercise strategy to show you, actually I showed you an assessment as well, an assessment and corrective exercise strategy to improve range of motion and shoulder stability. Last week on Friday, I discussed the rotator cuff itself, more specifically what it does and the function of the rotator cuff, which is essentially to stabilize the glenohumeral joint. However, I also shared that the important thing about the rotator cuff is generally it's not an isolated rotator cuff issue. It's a general overall stability, or I should say strategy issue, which then relates to stability issues of the neck, upper rib cage, and shoulder complex. So before you address rotator cuff issues specifically, you want to make sure your client is aligning their head, neck, thoracolpelvic cylinder, so the thorax over top the pelvis, as well as make sure the shoulder blade is in its most optimal and neutral position. And I demonstrated how to do that in last week's videos. Now I want to talk about a very specific rotator cuff exercise that I was taught to do a lot. You've likely learned the exact same exercise for your own clients that actually contributes to shoulder issues. And if you know my story, I have bilateral rotator cuff and labral tears in both shoulders. And when I first started going to rehab, both in chiropractic college while a chiropractic student, and then after chiropractic college, everyone told me to do this specific exercise. Wrap a towel in here, squeeze down and back, do a lot of external rotation work to strengthen the rotator cuff, those external rotators, because I had the forward shoulder, internally rotated shoulder, so I was told. However, I also discussed last week, and this is why it's so important that you go back and watch parts 1, 2, and 3 of this series if you missed them, that you assess your client. Because if you don't assess your client, you are just guessing what's going on with them. And I am very serious about that, and I don't want to make light of this situation because we just see this forward shoulder position and assume that everybody's weak back there and short and tight here, so we need to stretch this out here in the front and strengthen that in the back. And that's exactly what I did. I got awesome at retracting, depressing. I got awesome at external rotation strength. However, what happened is then I lost the ability to bring my shoulders forward into internal rotation. So just because you see this posture, it doesn't mean your client has limitations in external rotation and over tight internal rotators. You don't know that unless you assess your client. And that's why the process you take your client through is so important. Now, I want to share with you how you can actually prove this to yourself. So I want you to do this with me, and or as soon as you watch this video, go try this for yourself, because your nervous system does not lie. Here's what we're going to do. I've already done my corrective exercises, the same thing I showed you in last week's video, so you can see that on last week's videos. So I'm going to check my range of motion for shoulder flexion. And I got pretty decent shoulder flexion for right now. You can see my range of motion without compensation. Okay, so I get about let's say we'll call it 160 to 170 degrees of shoulder flexion. Now I'm going to do the exercise, this rotator cuff external rotation work, the way I was taught and the way you've probably been taught to do it as well. So I'm going to turn away from the camera. I'm going to put the towel inside my shoulder like this. I'm going to pack my shoulder like a lot of us have been taught to do. So squeeze down and back to really stabilize that shoulder. And now we're going to go through some external rotation work. So I'm going to step away from the band, and now I'm just going to do some external rotation work, keeping the chest nice and tall and squeezing down and back with my shoulder blade and working my external rotators. And I feel a lot of work in my external rotators, and we'll do about 10 repetitions. So I'm not sure that that's exactly 10, but we will assume it's 10. Now, let's go back and check our range of motion, because here's our approach to training the shoulder, and this is really our approach to training everything, any pattern that you train in the body, and this is really what differentiates the Integrative Movement System, our proprietary system we use with our own clients and patients here in our clinic, as well as with ourselves and our Integrative Movement specialists. Our specialists in this system as well is checking range of motion. your range of motion does not lie. So you saw my range of motion before, 160 to 170 degrees of shoulder flexion. I did about 10 repetitions of external rotations. Let's check it now. And you can see my range of motion has decreased dramatically. So now I'm down to about 150, 145 to 150 degrees of shoulder flexion. I can cheat it back up by coming here. But again, I've lost significant range of motion in my shoulder by doing 10 repetitions. So why did that happen? What's the nervous system's primary goal? Number one, breathing, right? So number two is to stabilize and create control. When you compromise alignment, breathing, and or control, so you compromise the joint alignment, breathing, and or motor control, muscle control around the shoulder complex, in this case, for example, your body says, I don't like what you're doing. The nervous system says, I don't like what you're doing. I'm going to decrease that range of motion. And then the client feels tight, and then we tell them to go stretch. But the challenge is we've set them up for failure because we didn't help them maintain alignment, breathing, and or control. And that's the biggest thing, as I mentioned, that differentiates the integrative movement system approach from all the other approaches out there to training, to corrective exercise, and to rehab. So now that I've jacked myself up, because that's essentially what I've done with 10 repetitions, I need to unjack myself. So the first thing I'm going to do is get myself into better alignment. I'm going to align my head, neck, and thoracolpelvic cylinder. I'm going to focus on breathing wide across my upper ribs and into my armpits. So I'm going to breathing in through my nose, breathing out through my mouth, breathing in through my nose, and widening across my shoulder blades, and breathe out. Make sure I'm not tensing my neck up. Breathe. One more time. And breathe out. Now I'm going to return to the same exercise. Again, this time, however, I'm going to maintain alignment, maintain my three-dimensional breathing, maintain control of my shoulder complex. So I'm going to make sure my shoulder blade is nice and controlled. I'm still going to do the same exact exercise, except without jacking my shoulder blade down and back or packing my shoulder blade. I'm going to use a range of motion I can control. I'm going to make sure I'm not squeezing down and back. I'm not lifting the chest up, maintaining a nice long spine. My neck stays relaxed. I'm using the same amount of tension. I'll do the same amount of repetitions, making sure aligning, breathing, and controlling through the exercise pattern. And now let's go and check that range of motion again. So again, now I got my range of motion back. So now I'm back to where I was. In fact, it's actually a little bit better than it was in the beginning. And that's the beauty of using a system and having a specific process that you take your clients through, because you use your assessments to determine your client's non-optimal and inefficient posture and movement habits. Then your corrective exercises help you set up more optimal and efficient habits, and then you integrate those habits into the fundamental movement patterns, or in this case, your rotator cuff exercises. And that's how you truly help your clients and understand specifically what impact your exercise is having on your client. So this is Dr. Evan Osar with the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education. Thank you so much for joining me in this part 4. I'm going to be back on Thursday. I'm flying tomorrow to a conference. I'm taking the conference myself because it's very important that I continue my own education as well. And I'll share with you why you probably don't want to do tons of external rotation work with your clients and why you need to focus a little bit more on internal rotation. And then Friday, I'll also be on Facebook Live sharing with you a brand new resource we created around the rotator cuff, so that way you can help more individuals that have rotator cuff issues. So make it a great day. I'll be back on Facebook Live Thursday. And if you're not on Facebook Live, well, obviously you're on Facebook Live because you're watching this, but you may be watching the replay on our website, IIHFE, or our YouTube channels, fitnesseducationseminars.com. Thanks for watching it. Thanks for being part of our community, and thanks for all you do for your clients. Get out there and empower your clients to also refer you to their friends, families, and colleagues that need your expertise. Make it a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.